this is a story time of my terrible experience I had with Air Canada. And unfortunately, I will have to fly with them again in the future because it's just the standard national carrier in Canada. And there's no other option. Well, there's no better options. There's WestJet, there's Flair Airlines, there's Scoot. Anyways, but the whole situation goes down as this. So, flying to Japan, it was my cousin and I. My cousin lives in Florida, so he was coming down from Florida to Toronto, and then we were gonna go from Toronto to Tokyo, Narita. So he comes in on a Sunday, and he gets to Toronto. I pick him up. They don't have his luggage. They never actually put his luggage on the flight to Toronto. So we thought, okay, the next day is our flight to Tokyo, so let's go back to Pearson Airport, get there a couple more hours early than usual, and then let's talk to someone there and see what we can do. So we talked to someone there, and he's just like, yes, they forgot it, and they're gonna send it on the next available flight to Toronto. But at that point, we would already be en route to Tokyo. So we filled out a bunch of paperwork to have the bag delivered to our hotel that we were staying at in Tokyo. So come on the next flight to Toronto, and then leave from Toronto to Tokyo and meet us at the hotel. So we did all that, blah blah blah. We set foot in Tokyo. We waited about like a day or so for the bag to arrive. So on our last day at the hotel that we were first staying at in Tokyo before we went to different cities, we asked them, oh, did you guys receive any baggage or stuff like that? They were like, no, nothing of that sorts. So we then were like, okay, if a bag does arrive here, just send it back to Narita Airport, blah blah blah. So we did all that. We went about our trip. On the way back though, coming back home, at this point we had realized that the bag was just at Narita Airport the entire time. It never got delivered to my cousin, never got to any of the hotels we were at. Unfortunate. So here comes the really messed up part of the whole thing. So of course, we get to Narita Airport pretty early. Our flight is at like 4 p.m. We got there at like 9:30, 10. Like, we're really just trying to maximize as much time as possible and see if we can actually get the bag on time, because these things probably take time to find a bag that's just been sitting at an airport for a whole week. So we go over to the help information desk at first, and they say go to the Air Canada ticket counter. The Air Canada ticket counter wasn't open until like 1 p.m. or something like that. So we were like, okay, let's just wait around. We got some food. After getting some food, it still didn't open, but there was an Air Canada agent just around the area, maybe just like setting things up, getting the computers ready, whatnot. And so basically we asked him and told him the whole situation, and he was no help whatsoever. Absolutely useless. Didn't give us any information whatsoever. All he just said was, oh, you have to wait for the ticket counter to open at 1. Like, no, we're not waiting for the ticket counter to open up at 1. The flight is at 4, like 3 or something like that, and you have to wait till the ticket counter is open at 1, and we still don't know where the bag is located. We're not risking that portion in between of, okay, we go to the ticket counter, try and find the bag located somewhere in the airport, and the flight departure, right? We're not going to be playing with time here right now. Absolutely not. So he was no help at all. All he just said was you have to wait for the ticket counter, blah blah blah. So at that point, I took it upon myself to call Air Canada themselves in Montreal. I got a hold of someone, and they were like really shocked and astounded about like, yo, like, you've had terrible service, and I'm so sorry this has happened to you. Great guy on the phone. He just said, yeah, he basically reiterated what I'm saying. The ticket counter agent at Narita Airport was just useless and gave us no information whatsoever. So he just said, yeah, try and go down to the arrival section where they hold the bags and see if you can talk to someone, whatever. And we had all the bag tags and all the information to the Air Canada app and whatnot, to see where the bag was located. So we knew the bag was located in Narita, just didn't know exactly where. We just couldn't find anyone who would give us that information to go look for the bag. So we get down there, and they're no help either. They're not really involved in this type of thing. They're more involved with sending your luggage to X, Y, and Z. If you're traveling far within Japan, don't want to track your suitcase, you can just have it delivered to where you're going. So they weren't really in the business of doing what we were looking for. So after that, it was like, man, it was past 1 p.m. at this point. We were like getting really worried. Like, what's going on here? We came here hours and hours before just to bypass this whole thing. So we go to another help information desk. Praise this lady. Oh my goodness. The help information desk at the arrivals section of Narita Airport. Oh my goodness. Luckily, she did speak a little bit of English as well, which was very helpful. So she sorted out the whole situation, ended up getting on phone calls with multiple people. We just gave her the necessary information. My cousin then had to talk to some people, gave out the necessary information so they could go searching for the bag. So then after about like maybe 30 minutes of the phone calls and whatnot, her trying to do her best to see like what was going on, she then was like, wait here, some of my colleagues will be like down to help and assist you. And like another hour and a half goes by, and getting really worried because like, what's going on, man? Like, this is taking forever at this point just to get the bag that we'd even have for the entire duration of the damn trip. So then 2 hours go by. I'm not even kidding, it's less than an hour till departure for the flight to go home. And someone gracefully just comes out of one of the doors of arrivals and is just carrying a bunch of paperwork in their hand and my cousin's bag at the same time. And in my mind, I was like, okay, thank goodness it's here. Nothing was stolen, like it's all intact, whatever. But Air Canada, that was horrible from start to finish. You don't have my cousin's bag from the first leg of his trip. And then when you made us fill out information, praise the guy who was working at Pearson. I forgot his, I think it was Dwayne, but praise that guy. He did his job. He did his best, and really appreciative of him. But when a situation like that occurs, what's going on, Air Canada? You lose it on the first leg. You don't even deliver it to the hotel that we were staying at. You just left it at the airport. So in my mind, you guys brought it over on the next flight to Tokyo, and because no one had claimed the bag, Tokyo Narita Airport staff just put it as an unattended bag, most likely. But we can see on the Air Canada tracker that it's somewhere in the airport, but you, Air Canada, just left it there. So what was the point of us filling out the information for the lost baggage? Sorry, not the lost baggage, filling out the information to get the bag delivered to the hotel, so that never even happened. And then also now it's been a couple months since it happened. Not sure what's going on with reimbursement and whatnot, because we had to spend some money there in Japan for clothes and whatnot. So yeah, it's unfortunate. This is my first time having a real serious issue with Air Canada. All throughout my years of traveling Air Canada, I've never had a single issue, maybe like slight delays, but no issue as bad as this. And it's really quite terrible. So unfortunately, we'll have to take Air Canada more in the future, because it's kind of like the best bang for your buck. It's the best airline to take within Canada. Yes, there is WestJet, but WestJet doesn't fly to many places and routes and stuff. So yeah, and also traveling within Canada doesn't really matter what airline you go with. They're all expensive. So it makes no sense there. So yeah, Air Canada, do better.